I don't know if you guys have ever seen how a circuit breaker has all of these switches. In South Africa, we call it a DB board, stands for distribution box. I don't know if you've ever seen that sometimes just one of these things switch off, they trip, as we call it, the moment there's an overload. And this is exactly what happens in a human brain, especially in men, where a circuit gets tripped, a person shuts down. And I would like to discuss why that is and what happens, and stick around to the end. We're going to be discussing how to overcome when a man shuts down. Why do they shut down and how to overcome this? Hey everybody, welcome to today's show, and I'm so glad that you could join me again today. So if you're listening on podcast or watching me now on YouTube, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's actually such an honor to be able to share everything that I've learned with you guys, some stuff that I've gone through, and I would just like to just explain how I came over it. Maybe this will help you too. And again, just for the sake of this, I would like to just explain that I am not a fundi when it comes to life coaching. I'm not an expert in psychology. I'm not any of these things. I'm actually just a normal guy from South Africa that has gone through all of these things. And my goal for I Am Man is to reach the lost men out there, and hopefully what I share with you will maybe help you to overcome the struggles that you might be facing. The dream and the goal for I Am Man is to reach men out there that feel lost, feel broken, feel hopeless. And together we will be able to rise above our circumstances, to lead other people to the God-given destiny, and to restore everything that was taken away or broken down. This is I Am Man. So as I was saying, is last week we spoke about laziness versus men shutting down. And it was just a little bit of a breakdown to understand why is it that men actually become secluded from society when they're going through pressure. So what is it actually? So when a man shuts down, the easiest way to explain it is just because they have to maintain sanity. And it's not because they don't care. It's not because they don't love. It's a defense mechanism that they've learned from childhood. And what they've learned in childhood as a safe switch is now becoming a downfall for an adult. What I mean by that is what has helped you in the past is basically holding you back when you grow up. And a lot of people see that as a person that is drawn back, not being able to communicate properly, not being able to love properly. And that is actually so far from the truth, because what's happening in a guy's brain and his heart and his whole entire being is just that he needs to somehow find energy, and he has no energy to communicate what he's feeling. So basically what I'm trying to say is you don't have a language for what you're feeling. And that is something that it was taught at a very young age. When you grew up, it was always said, oh man, what you're feeling is nothing. Become a man, just grow up, just stop crying, stop whining. And this became the norm throughout your life. It was like, oh man, I need to keep it back, hold it back, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to be defined with complaining, and you're going to be labeled as weak. And this is something that you decided, you know what, you're going to do this through the rest of your life as you grow up, so that you cannot be called any of those things. But what has happened back then and how you defended yourself back then is not working for you right now. Because what actually happens is you distance yourself from the people around you, your family, co-workers, your kids. And your wife's like, what is happening? You're not loving, you're not caring. Your kids think, oh, my daddy's distant. What's going on? And again, this is not because you do not care. It's actually you do care so much that you do not want to verbalize what is inside. So next we're going to be talking about practical steps to overcome this. I just need to make this very clear and say this again, that when a man shuts down, it's not because he doesn't care. It is a default setting. So you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to learn the ability to communicate that emotion, to understand what you're feeling, to understand that this inside of you was held back and suppressed for so long that it doesn't come out. The first step in order to get it out, obviously, is to speak about it. But there's a difference between regulated talk and you just blabbering and putting everything onto someone like you're in a counseling session. A friend, a work colleague, and everybody else except your partner that is meant to love you, support you, and everything else, you cannot go and blabber to everybody else what is actually happening in your life. But it does help speaking at that moment what you're feeling, like saying, oh man, I'm frustrated. Oh man, I'm not happy with this. This is hurting me. Don't go, oh man, my life was so bad and this has happened to me, that has happened to me, and woe is I because the world is against me. That is so not the right way to do that. That is actually dumping all of your emotions onto someone that cannot probably handle the situation that you are in right now. That's not responsibility. That is irresponsible, and it is your goal to communicate at that point, at that moment in time, to say exactly, listen, I am feeling this, without oversharing. If it's your wife and you've got a good relationship going, I would say sometimes it is okay to overshare. I think so. It's okay to overshare. But remember, your wife is also going through her own struggles maybe at that time. So there is a respected amount that I believe that you can share over to your wife. Look, if you break down and your wife is there to support you, by all means, share everything. But there is a time that you need to share. If you really cannot share with your wife, and I think that's the biggest problem for men at this time, is that they cannot always talk to their wife because they're scared that they might look weak. And that's the thing, is that you're not weak. You're actually trying to understand still how to deal with this emotion. Then rather go speak to a psychologist, speak to a professional, speak to someone that is able to help you identify and regulate that emotions. Because what happens is, and this is exactly what we're talking about, is when a man shuts down, and that's what happens. When a man shuts down, you can destroy much more than yourself, because you're building a wall up thinking that you're protecting other people, but you're actually blocking yourself from other people. And that's exactly what we're trying to stop. So I think the first thing is what you need to do is to identify what you're feeling and speak it. In my previous video that I made, and I would like you just to maybe have a look at it, I'll share the link. It's to find rest. Sometimes your body goes through so much trauma, and you would think, oh, but look, I'm just going through some tough times. Your brain, in your subconscious mind, and again, I'm not a guru in this is what has happened to me, and I've did a little bit of research. You can actually go and do a little bit of research yourself. Your subconscious mind actually stresses on your behalf. Because of a pattern has happened before in the past, your brain is saying, okay, something is going to happen that reminds me of the past, and I need to somehow find rest. Shutting down is one of them. Just like the DB board or your circuit breaker switches off, so it does not cause any of the other switches next to it to burn out. It's the same with your brain. Let me switch off this part of the brain, the emotion part, so that you do not talk, to protect everything else. Because I think what would have happened is, if that switch stayed on, you would have probably lost your cool. You would have gotten angry. You would have done stupid stuff. That is just what has happened to me. Overall, I think switching off is a very, very good thing for a time for you to sort out your issues. But if you don't switch down, I think you're gonna do something that you might regret. So going back to the previous video, try find rest. Try find rest. What I mean by this is we're so overwhelmed with everything, especially when you hold your phone in your hand and you're scrolling and going through everything. You're comparing yourself to a filter. Can I call it a filter? Where these things are not what it seems like. A lot of people put on a fake smile, but deep down in themselves, they are also just really trying to cope with the world. And they think putting on a filter will show the world, look, it's okay with them. And this is the problem that we have, is we're going to try to compare ourselves with people out there that you're not even supposed to be doing. You are you, and you're supposed to be looking after yourself in order for you to look after the people around you. First, look after yourself. Do not compare yourself to others. So I would say, get rid of that phone. I've mentioned it before. Get rid of something that distracts you. If you have this thing where you go to bed and first scroll, your brain does not shut down. And in the morning, you're so tired, and then you have to start working, and all of these things, it puts more pressure on your brain. And that's what we are trying to avoid. We don't want to go into life and say, let me work harder, let me work more, let me try to provide, by comparing yourself to others. You've got your life to live. I know I'm struggling with the same thing where in the past where I had to provide. I had to do this because everybody else does this, and look how perfect their life is, and look how terrible my life is. And that just adds fuel to the flame. Don't compare yourself to others, and find rest. And then the last thing I would suggest you do is find time, just a little bit of time to have quiet time. In the mornings, the first thing I do is I go sit down and I pray to God. And I said, God, thank you so much for everything that you've given me. And we're so quick to ask, but we forget to say thanks for what we already have. When you're in the attitude of gratitude, as they call it, there's a mind shift that happens where you say, listen, I know that is not going the way I planned, but look what I have around me. I have a roof over my head. I've got this studio, this ability to speak to you right now on camera, where a lot of people don't actually even have this ability, where they can share what they've gone through. And I've been given that opportunity, but I seize that moment and I say, you know what, I've got this. And I want to say, thank you, Father God, for this ability to reach the lost out there. Thank you that I've got food to eat. Thank you that I've got clothes to wear. Thank you that my pastor put it this way. You know, a lot of people complain, and if you've got a garage, a motorhome, if people call it, it's called a motorhome for a reason. You have a home for your car where other people don't even have a car. A lot of people want to say, I need to have the best and I need to have the latest. For how long before it's not the best or the latest? Stop comparing. Stop trying to rush for the best. Be content with what you have right now. That will already eliminate stress from your brain that causes shutdown. Coming back to the point is, set aside a time in the day. I do it in the morning because that's when everybody is asleep. Set aside some time just to speak to God. Read a small little Bible verse. I've got this Bible app that gives you some Bible verses for the day, and I go through this guided Bible verse and explains to me how to do certain things at certain time. But it helps me. It helps me to keep myself sane, to know that I'm not the only one struggling. And this is exactly why I'm sharing this with you, to let you know you're not the only one struggling. And I really do hope whatever I'm sharing with you will help you. And I really do hope that if you do know someone that is struggling with the same thing, that you will pass this message on. I really do think we're meant to be a brotherhood of men looking after other men, because it's up to us to stand strong. It's our responsibility to look after our family, to look after the people around us. But we cannot do it while we are shut down, while we are broken down, while we are failing in life, not knowing how to rise up again. And this is the reason for what I'm doing right now. So tell you, listen, let's do this together. I know I might not be the best and the greatest right now, but you know what, I'm starting. Again, like I said in my previous messages, just start with something small. And as it grows, you will see how good it will become. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for listening to me today. Thank you so much for tuning in if you are listening via podcast or watching on YouTube. I really, really appreciate you. And I thank you for sharing this message to the rest of the world. So if you found this video helpful and you know of someone that might benefit from this video, I do ask that if you don't mind, please share it with them. Help us reach the men out there that you think might need to see this to better their lives. This is the goal and the aim for Iron Man, is to reach out to the lost men out there so that we as a brotherhood can help each other up again and strive for a better life. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day further. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.